There's a few
I'm
people
about the
jumping
way
in here
ready,
anyway,
ready to
so
get
we'll.
going.
Yeah, excellent. So just to kind of give everyone an oversight of the platform, the takeoff module is just an additional module that sits on top of your project. So this project here is AEC Collab 2023. I can jump between other projects if I wanted to and start to run my takeoffs on those. So to actually access takeoff, you just go into the members area and wherever your username is. So I'm here. I just scroll across and I can see what modules I have access to as part of my licensing. So if I want to turn on cost management, I just click it there, or in turn, I can click it on the right hand side here to turn it on. As project admins, you can turn on and off and control the permissions of people. So if I click Maria here, I can say she doesn't need design collab or model coordination, and that's her access gone off the project. By me turning on takeoff, that will now start to fall under here, underneath my docs. So if I'm in docs and I want to go to takeoff, I just click here and it opens up the takeoff module. I'm still within the project, so I'm just working on the takeoff module. There's a few things you need to do to set up the takeoff from day one. Is first define your units of measurement, your system, your classifications and others. So what you do here is just go to settings, so into project admin, and go into settings, and so I don't know. It's going to take off there again. So when I have the settings in, they're already in there, is in the method. So if you have your standard methods of measurement coding, you can put them in there. If you have Uniclass or any classification system, that's where it's inputted here. You also need to upload 2D and 3D models, which I'll show you how to do that there as well. And then the final thing is just to start creating takeoff packages. So if I go into my files area, so this is a direct link between your docs area and takeoff. You don't have to jump between takeoff and docs every time. You have access to it within the same section. So you with your permissions, you have access to whatever folders you have access to. So if I go into, let's say, structural engineer, that's a model. I can push that up to takeoff, or if I want to see PDF drawings, I click here, and all I do is I click on publish to takeoff sheets and models. So that means you're taking from your common data environment and pushing it into takeoff. So because you don't want to have your takeoff constantly within the common data environment, because this could go to version 1000 over the course of a project. So you need to control what's going in and what's going out of takeoff. What that'll happen then is they'll reside here in your sheets and models section. So these are ones that have been pushed across. You can see here straight away that you get a version set of when they're coming through. So when I publish them, it asks for a date and a version set. So this was issued in February 24, and it was part of the MEP version set. That's the 2D sheet side. If you want to see the models that have been uploaded, these are the ones that are here. It'll only do IFC and RVT models at the minute. But if you had a certain different type of model, you can just run PDF drawings out of it or convert it to an IFC, and we can start running quantifications off it. So that shows what your drawings are in the platform. If you wanted to isolate it and filter between different issuance dates or version sets, you have the filter options here. So if I want to see what was issued on the GS4, there was none there. There's probably models in that one. So these are the drawings that were submitted on that. I can actually put in tags as well to see which ones were architectural or which ones were just reflective ceiling plans. And you can start to filter all these. I can open this up and view it if I wanted to. And that's access to my drawing that has been pushed up. But if I just close this for a second, then I go into my packages. So that the sheets and models is just like a view of all the sheets and models that are ready for takeoff. Home is where you kind of, it kind of guides you through the setup process. I close this and it gets rid of that area. Home will also show you your recent takeoff packages that were taken off in the project. Any takeoff edits or sheets in the models in the project that I have uploaded. It also shows you the embodied carbon, which I'll go into later. This is in beta. And it also shows you the costs by package, which we'll go into. So it gives you a splash screen of your project beforehand. Next is to go into packages. So these are the packages that we've created on the project and so on. To create a package, you just click here. So I can call this ACTU package and go create package. By clicking that, then I have access. So you have access to all of the drawings and sheets that are in the drawings and sheets area. You can filter here. I just want to see 2D sheets and I get access to them there. You can also filter by name if needs be, or I can select the document from the top area here. So you can access it from multiple areas in the project. I can jump between different packages up here as well. And I can go into different version sets as well. So if I wanted to start to do a package, so I just cancel that. I want to create a package on a 2D drawing. I'll pick something that has, say this one. So I'm just trying to see what I can capture here. Okay, yeah, so we take it off this one. We'll do ventilation or I'm just trying for something that I can relate to. We'll do the plan here. All right. So what you do first is you need to set the scale of your drawing if it's not done already, and to see that it's down here at the bottom. So you have the ability to set it 1:100, 1:10. It depends on the units of the project. If you change that to feet and inches, you'll get the feet and inches scale factor here. So with that set, then you need to set your package. So I can bookmark this as well. So if this is something I'm going to be working on for the next couple of hours, I just click on this bookmark and that will put it up at the very top here. Then I can turn that off by just clicking that button. So it opens up the screen a bit more. And next is you need to start creating your packages.
Sorry, Sean.
Yes?
Just when you had the scale there, did you have to calibrate that?
No, you can calibrate it. So if for example, you don't know what scale the drawing is at, and you have it, I see this, it's 1:100, but if I wanted to calibrate it, I'd have to click here, and it says select 2 points. If I click from here to here, and I say, well, I know now that is 8 meters, and I calibrate that, that's changing the scale. You can see here, it's after changing it to 1:109, but I can just go back to 1:100.
Yeah. But then you're assuming then that that's an A1 sheet at 1:100. But if it was printed as a A3 PDF from an A1, then it wouldn't be to 1:100.
It's still
have to calibrate it then.
Yeah, and what you can do a quick check then by just checking the width of a wall, just to see if it's within, like that's roughly a 90mm stud, which is okay. Or you can check the width of a stairs, something that you know is a constant within extent. But preferably, we always say to customers is at least have one dimension on the drawing if you're doing takeoff. Well, we have it here actually. So I can just check these here just to see what they are. There you go. It's even gone down to 0.8 of a mil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you do, is make sure that there's something on it that you can check. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. You can interrupt me at any time and ask questions. There's no problem. Next is to start doing my takeoffs. So I need to say, let's say I was doing the floor build up here of this cafeteria. What I do then is I click on the takeoff types here, and I want to to create a takeoff. And this is going to be called raised access flooring. Okay. By clicking that, it asks me what tool do I want to use. There's area, linear, count, or BIM. It won't do BIM because this is an actual PDF, flattened PDF. There's no 3D element to it. I go into the BIM area next. So what I need to do is I need to go area, and I want it to be a fill of, let's say, the green and the border orange. I can add a description here to say raise access floor, and here's where we put in my primary details. So I want to put in an output name of raise. If there's one already in there, it will find it, so I can create an output. If there was something I wanted to add to, I just click here and scroll down. So you see here, it's you flooring. You can pick whatever you want to do. I just put in raised access flooring just so we can all relate to it. See, if I click on REI, it searches what's on there. So I want to create an option there. The units of measure is square meters. I can give a cost per square meter here. So if I say this is roughly 110 euros a square meter, and remember at the start I said what classification system we're going to use. So you can put in your own classification system here. So this would be, if I didn't know which ones I was working on, I just select here and go flooring. And I can click here, internal finishes, floor finishes, and you can put in an additional classification. So this is NRM. This will pick on different systems as well. So say floor, squeeze bits, and you can start putting in your NRM systems as well here. I'll just pick one of these here. Here's where we can put your floor, your formula is area, which is by default with that. You can add a scale factor here if you wanted to. So if you want to add in area multiplied by 1.25, and here's where you can put in your embodied carbon. So this is only in beta at the minute. So if I want to select my model category, I need to select what it is. So if I pick flooring, access flooring, what that's doing now is it's searching a database and it's saying that is 62 kilograms of CO2 emitted per meter squared. So that's, you just need to do this once, and then I just need to go start takeoff. With that, then I just start to draw. I can snap and draw a rectangle around my area, and you'll see because I set it that it's going green by my quantification, it's calculating the area. I know just need to pull that out there. There you go. So that's given me 144 square meters of it. And if I expand it here, it's telling me what the finishes are. There's another thing you can do here as well is, without having to recalculate the area again, I can do additional outputs while it's done. So the next thing then could be skirting. So I'm going to create an output for skirting. The units of measure of that is in meters. The costs 50 euros. I can just put in again. I won't be enter for that. I'll just put in flooring again. Floor finishes. And it's the perimeter plus the interior perimeter. So I can have that. I just want to do the perimeter around the markup, and I can put in my embodied carbon here as well. So let's just say wood. Say wood flooring. So I need to put in. Oh, it'll only, at the minute, because it's in beta, it will only calculate square meters, not linear meterage. So I can leave that alone. It's currently being worked on by Autodesk. So if I just click save there on that, what that's doing is it's taking the perimeter that I've captured and adding in an additional output. So only by me doing that circle, it's working that way. Another thing you can do is while I'm in it, I can start to draw cutouts. So if this was an overall floor and you wanted to put in an output for event, if I click that, it's putting it on it. Sorry, I need to delete that again because it's seen it as unassigned. So just delete that one. And by editing this then, so I just draw it in here. By me selecting that, I can right click and go apply as a cutout. And that then I just select it and then delete it. So that's after putting in a cutout into my floor. And what it's also doing is after changing the calculation of it and after adding skirting around this as well too. You could also go into it more and start to go with, what would it be? You can break down the floor. So you could have cubic meterage of concrete, insulation, screed, underfloor heating pipework. You can do that all by just drawing that rectangle, and that will start creating your build of quantities here.
So Sean, did that add skirting for your cutout there, did it?
Yes, yeah.
Right. If you didn't want skirting added to that, is that just in that calculation you had there?
It's just a calculation. I just have perimeter. So it would, because it sees it as a perimeter. No, it wouldn't have had because I took away the internal perimeter.
Yes, that's what I was thinking,
as part of the coding. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And if you wanted to, can you use a similar tool then on the perimeter if you've got a big opening that you don't?
Yeah, you could. But you're going to have to go through the process of tracing around the perimeter again. Whereas I'm saying if you use just that one rectangle or polygon, you're capturing everything.
Yes.
I could go in there again.
See the double doors into the room.
Yes.
Right.
I see what you mean. That would be.
I don't know the
rules
rules
well.
for QSing, but if you want to take out that 2 meter length, can you do that?
You can't take it out because if I cut that, it's going to cut the area of this. But you can create your own new takeoff type.
Could you put into when you did the calculation in the formula? You could just minus 2 meters.
Minus 2 meters. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But you need to be careful then if you went into this one where there's only a single door. You need to be careful with your calculations.
Oh, because that's applied to that.
To that code.
Access floor. Okay.
Yeah, but you can always create here and call this edge trim, and you can have it as and just draw a linear thing. I can put in my details here. Let's see if I go skirting. Sorry, it's after picking it up again, and it's distance here. But all I do then is I just go, see the way I've taken over the €50 because I picked skirting. I click that, and I just start tracing around here. So I just go here. It's taking off the color of the line that I picked, and just finish off there. And there's my edge trim there.
Yeah.
All right. So that's I was actually showing the linear one, and I can just start going around each room here if I wanted to, just to start taking off more edge trims. So if I want
it seems to snap quite handily to the intersections.
Yeah, it depends, to be honest, on the way the model or the drawing was PDF'd. Okay. So it is. So if I click here, sometimes it'll snap, sometimes it won't. But you can put in a factor on it there. So you can.
Okay.
That's just showing the linear one then. Just sit there and just hit return when you're finished, and that's your. So while I'm doing this, it's building up an inventory, which I'll show there now in a while. So that's the area one, which is that takeoff type. The linear one is the one we just did for the skirting, and the next one then is the count. So if I want to do a count of the columns, for example, I want to call this is column. and go, I said we just column 300 diameter. I need to click on count. So it asks you what color do you want the symbol to go on it. So I can say I put in a triangle. I want the fill to be orange and the outline to be orange as well. And again, put in your output details. This will build up over time. So see, there's structural columns. It's after picking up all of my sizing. If I put the cost per square meter, that, let's say €100 per square meter. Again, per cubic meter. Again, I don't think it will work on the embodied carbon. I'll just check concrete here. Concrete there. See, again, it's cubic meters. So I just need to reset that. So it's something that's being worked on.
So see this part you're putting in there where you're setting this up. Can you build up your own sort of library and template?
Yes. You can have a library. See I have here 1 of 57. See there it says items filtered by selected classification. So I don't have to put in structural columns every time. By me having a standardized classification system in the company, I just upload that into the platform.
Yeah, I mentioned. So that's where that's coming from.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay.
And here's the classification systems, which is 1. So there's 3 systems. There's one for your outputs. There's one for your classification system of what you want them to be classified to as well. And there's also your NRM here.
Right.
And you can see based on structural columns, it's going by formulas, depth, width, and height. So it's just because it's a PDF, you have to input in those. So if I close this, see here on the bottom left, it says the depth and width of my height is so on. So the depth would be 300, width 300. And let's say your height then is the height your column is going to be is probably 4 meters. Sorry, there'd be millimeters there. Okay, then I just go start takeoff, and I start scanning around the drawing. And I show you some feature that's good as well. So I just place here, 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 and it's starting to build up my inventory of my quantification. So yeah, this is kind of a very manual approach to do that. So if I just hit return there. But what I can also do as well is while I'm in the columns, there's an item here. If I see at the bottom here, there's symbol detection. So if I click on that and I say scroll around here, and I draw a box around that circle, and I just go apply. What that's doing now is it's scanning the drawing to see what symbols or something that is the exact same as that. So it's after selecting 9 new matches. So I just go save. So it's adding 9 to that, which are these ones here, where we can do it. And you can just, again, you can start going through more of them if needs be. I can do the same with, let's say, the chairs or desks. I create a type, call it chairs.
And say you get a new updated PDF after you've done that, and there's 2 columns been removed.
So what you do then
identify the ones removed?
It'll highlight it over to say that. So if, let's say, for example, I get a new version 6, and it comes across, I have to kind of manually go across and say, well, there's a few things you can do in Docs. Is before I publish it to takeoff, I can compare between version 5 and version 6, which is the new version. It'll show me which columns are missing. I can then publish that as the newer version. And when I log on here, it'll have an asterisk up here to say there's a newer version. And by me clicking on the new version, it will say, do you want to copy all of your quantification from version 5 to version 6? I will also know that, let's say, that column is gone. I can select that and just go delete. And that will take that off my count.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
not an automated one, because it could be potentially dangerous if you just went and went, I want to update it. There's still that manual checking process. See, where like if I I'll just see if I scan here and I want to just do a count of the chairs. I just go symbol detection of these desks. It will miss through because the system is still a solution. See that there now, it's after missing that one, but it's after counting all the other desks in the building. See if there's any more. No, that's the only one that has it. So it's after counting quickly 63 of them. And if I wanted to add another one, I just, so I need to add more details. Units of measures, count, start take off. And I just add another circle to where it was not captured. Yep, and then just go save. Okay. And I've counted all those desks. So what that's doing then is it's building up this inventory in the background. So by me just doing all these takeoffs and counts on the drawing, on the bottom left, it's your inventory. So that breaks it into your classification systems, breaks it into what document you have that you ran it on. And because I've put costs on each of these, like I can put this in a chair is 250 euros. It's tallying up the costs of the project. And I can see what takeoff type. Is it the chairs, the diameters, the edge trim, the raised access flooring? And if I've location, you can set locations then as well. If this was in a zone of a project, you can break it into zones. Because I didn't set a location, I can just set it here. I say if this is entry level or ground floor, you can do it that way. And what I can do here then as well is it's also capturing the embodied carbon. And as I said, it's only on square meterage that it's capturing it. I can put it across here to see that there as well. So if I click on that edge trim, it's showing me the embodied carbon of that here. When I'm finished in that takeoff, I can just go export, and that will export out a CSV file. You can also, while that's running, there's a button up here that will export to PDF. So I'll export this sheet to PDF. It asks me two things. Do I want to include the all sheets with takeoff in a package, or just this sheet, or selected sheets? So if I just close that there, 2 seconds. I'll just open this up just to show you there what it looks like. And so if I want to, I've done my takeoff here. I want to present it back to someone. I don't need to do a PDF or an Excel file. I just click on the export sheet to PDF, and I just want that sheet with whichever ones I've selected, the takeoff types. I want the size to be large and go wide, and just go export PDF. So what that's going to do now is it's going to give me a PDF. I'll show it to you here, where I have my quantifications up on the top left. So it's highlighting everything that I've taken with the colors, and up on the top left I have the number of chairs, the number of columns, the structural columns, edge trims, everything. I have all these legends up in the top left, which is a nice feature to have, and you can just send that PDF then off to someone just as a reference to say you've started commencing the takeoff. But it said this is the Excel. I'll just give a quick look at this before we go into the 3D model aspect of it. So you get your project name, your company logo here, who created it, what way it was grouped, and then you break into your packages. So you get the total cost of the project down to the packages, and it shows you what classification system and all the other attributes that were assigned to the takeoff. And also breaks in then to details. So there's a details page then that will breaks out to all the GUIDs in the project. So it identifies each element that has been catered for. So let's say, for example, you were wrong with your height. It's not 4 meters, it's actually 3.5 meters. You can edit it here in the Excel file, and that will update your costings as well too. So that's one thing to do on
but only in the Excel.
Yes, you can do it in the Excel. Well, I can edit it here as well. So if I go to my columns, you just double click on it, edit your height here to 3.5. Go back and that'll update. That updates everything then, your cubic meterage or whatever.
But can you, is it a bi-directional link between an Excel
No, it's only one way. No, the Excel could do damage in it because these are kind of customizable here. I don't think there's no link of updating it back into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Phone the flow column here.
So just when you're talking about the packages, so you start off by creating a package, let's say structural floors, or you might do another one saying electrics or whatever, and you take off each.
See, we have SCTU package. This could be, let's say, commencement package. So it's not just one drawing.
Okay.
So the next thing then, say if I want to, so this drawing is that ground floor plan. I can go into another drawing. It's still within the same package. So you can start assigning multiple drawings to packages.
Okay. But the packages, the different elements you're going to take off.
Yeah.
So you have one for electrics, you have one for ducting, you have one for curtain walling.
Yeah, you can do that. You can break your packages into that, or you could have SETU package February, and you can break your drawings, so you can filter it by your drawings, which would be your general services, your curtain walling, your finishes. So it is multiple ways of filtering these down and grouping it.
Okay.
You can even group it by location. You can create a location and call it ventilation. It doesn't have to be set to a location. It's just an added a grouping and filtering place. Okay. So like say if I wanted to go back in now to my sheets and I go to my models, I'll pick to see which one is that's actually a house. Yeah. So if I wanted to start doing the takeoff on this house, but I let's say I've taken the flooring off it, now I want to do the roofing, and the roofing would be difficult enough on a plan layout because of slopes and the whole lot. So again, we'll just wait for it to load here now. So if I need to select takeoff package, just close that one there. Yep. So I'm ready now to start doing a takeoff on this. Again, you can, similar with docs, you can go through different versions. See what I'm saying? This one is a different dates, so I can copy them up through each version set. But again, the same way with this, if I wanted to pick new type, and this is roofing, the BIM object is highlighted. Now I can start adding my details. There's no, just go roofing, making sure if there's anything else in there. No. So roofing, units of measure, square meterage, the cost, 150, and I just go through my superstructure roof. I can leave that. You don't need to do. You're going to do one classification system, or you can leave it blank if you wanted to. And then my formula is area. And then when I close this, I can just go. There's a few things you do. You can go start takeoff, but there's a button here which is the cluster by view. So I just click here. What that does is it breaks the model into each individual component. So I can select my roof here. Select one, right click, select all redland clad tin roofing and hit there. I can select other areas as well. Select slate pitch roof. And what it's doing is it's color coding everything that I've done, because I've set that it's by selecting the BIM object, it's putting a color brown on it. And select all that. I can click those two. And what I can also do is if turn that off, I can put it into a shade mode. So I don't need to view it that way. And again, I can also change the color. So if I just change the color to something that will stand out, save, I can also add more to it. So that's me taking the roof off the platform. You can also start going into other areas. And if I wanted to do, let's say, flooring, it's breaking everything into its floors here and it stacks them all up. So a quick way of doing that is if I want to capture this, so I just escape that. So if I want to select that, I can get the properties of that floor. So that is 220 millimeter timber flooring. To quickly capture that, you can right click it and go select all timber flooring, and you can add that in as a package. See, it said PJH, I'll just call that timber flooring. Its account, primary details is timber. I'll just call it flooring. So floor finishes. That's it there. And
did that automatically have the thickness come up there?
It'll take the thickness, yeah. Because it's a 3D model, it will take the thickness. So that's me after taking it, and because it's green. And what you can do then is, if I click on the cluster button again, it pulls everything back in. But because I've hidden the roof, as in the slate, I get access to other areas. So this is another thing as well. Sorry, I need to select that. So that's my roof joist, my 175, 47 by 175 rafters. Again, select all the rafters, click here, add details, and just call it roofing, timber. And units of measure is, I can call this cubic meterage. Again, 40. And just go start takeoff. And that's after taking off the roofing. And again, you can start to go through the model then as your best thing to do is to hide it as you're doing it. And you can go into and again, it's building up a massive inventory here in the background while I'm just running. The model is a lot quicker, but again, it depends on how good the model is modeled.
Yeah. It's always the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
So my question now for the 3D model is, if you get a new version in, because it's working
yes,
the model,
it will
that update the quantities?
Yes. Yeah, it will update the quantities.
Okay. So if we, for instance, had all that house taken off, fully done, and then they decide to remove that single story piece that you got at the front on the right hand side,
it'll show up errors, and it will ask you. So what could happen there is the section box for that 3D view could be cut back here, and the roof be gone. Yeah. But it'll ask you to say there is a difference. Do you want to update the quantifications? And if it's right. Up to you as the quantity surveyor to say, yes, I do, or I know that on this project that there's something wrong. You can get the architect to, but you can start doing.
See your inventory then, Sean, right?
Yeah.
That you've got. Can you, I know you can export that as an Excel and you can print it as a PDF, but can you save that as a digital inventory specific with that version of the model?
Yeah.
And then when you make a new one.
So say I have here, see that this is the package that we created today. I have this option of saving it as a snapshot. So these are all the multiple packages that we've created. So I just click here and go save snapshot. So this is, let's say, 50% design stage. I can put it on today's date and it's go save snapshot, and that's taking everything as a snapshot. So it's moving it along then. So in the next 2 months, if it becomes 75% of a design stage category, it will, you can compare and see what's there.
And is that taking the inventory and the drawings and the model, all to do with that takeoff that you've done?
It's taking whatever has been done at that stage. Yes.
And the sheets and the models.
Yeah.
So you could go back to that anytime.
Package. Yeah. So this is why it's taking a bit of time now to capture it. But then I can go into I'll close that there so that's it there. So shown here as part of the one in August, these are the takeoffs that were associated back in August 2024. So there's my desk. There's the inventory that was done. So I need to select what sheet. So what was done in that package. So there's one that was done on a drawn. Yeah. So your floor finish, loose furniture, all that is captured in that snapshot that was on the 19th of August.
Very good.
Reporting, then you can just run reports on it's just your inventory takeoff. So it's already after capturing one that I've done, and you can actually share that report then with people or download it. With here, you only can do an inventory report because I'm within the takeoff module. Here's
if anybody's any questions, just jump in.
Yeah, or throw it into the chat. There's no problem. So I know there's no questions in the chat. You can see here then the recent packages that I've done, and it's after updating the embodied carbon. Yes, it's still only meters squared, but that will start to evolve over time, the embodied carbon.
Very good. I had a question there on the classifications.
Yeah.
Is there a place? I think you had NRM2 there. What version are we on now?
Yeah, I think it's NR
3, is it, or 4?
I think it is 3.
3. Yeah, it's 3. Right. Is there a place where you can find
those? There is a place. I just need to try and find where it is. So I'll find it there now. There you go. So I went to packages, and here on the right, it has settings. So here's where you say, is it imperial or metric? And there's my classification system. So you can export. So this is one, if you're working, you can find out what facilitating works. Is it a count? I can export that out so I can push into another project, or I can re-import in an updated one for your classification template. This is NRM2.
So these are built into the package. These are built into takeoff now.
At day one. No, these are ones you can customize. So because it's an existing demo, I'll try and pick one that I have. So if I go pick a project here.
And what I'm getting at is we don't have to go onto the internet and search for an Excel of NRM2. It's in there.
You'll get it. I don't know if it's there, but we have it and we can give it to you if you're looking for it. By right, they should be available to get. And if you have Uniclass.
Yeah.
I
think there's one up in Moodle, but I can't remember which one it is, if anybody's had a look.
Is it just from the RICS website? Or?
I think one of the questions got it 1 year. Yeah. I think it might be NRM1.
And it depends. Like we've done this for loads of customers, and they've said, no, we don't care about Uniclass or NRM. We have our own coding system that we use. And we said, that's perfect. Just have it in Excel, and we can upload it into the platform.
Okay.
And do you remember you asked Gordon about the output definitions, where you can have them customized and standardized? Here's where we have it.
Right.
So I can edit the one I did for raise access flooring here, I think. Oh, no, sorry, it's the same project. And here's where I can edit that to say the cost is actually different on that output. And I can customize to what classification system the raise access flooring is. Like if I wanted to create an output definition for ceiling coving. I know it's unit measure, the meters, the value. So this is where you can have that as a definition. It's
excellent. And then how are you finding it when you're out in industry? The response to using takeoff here on ACC versus, customers using different
Caustic and Buildsoft and all them.
Are they adopting to it, or?
They are, because it straddles on top of your common data environment. It's on top of your docs. So you could have someone who's who could have 100 docs licenses, and all it takes is one person to have, like the quantity surveyor or the commercial manager, to have a takeoff license, and they have the ability to do all the quantification on it.
Okay, and are you finding it's more on the contracting side or the?
It's mostly on the contracting side, but we're starting to see a few quantity surveying outfits starting to adapt this.
Okay. Yeah,
because it's
it'd be
PDF.
interesting. It's always interesting when we see is the feedback from the students using it that have used the different packages in the past. And how the pros and the cons.
Yeah, we've a customer now who had a load of Bluebeam licenses. They were using Bluebeam for this, and they're getting rid of all the Bluebeam licenses and moving towards takeoff because they see the benefits of it.
Okay, cool. And is there issues on there? No.
No, the issues will also, it's totally separate. The issues will always reside in the docs area. So if I go, but like you can integrate workflows in the company to say, I want you to say, if you get a drawing in, submit that for review to your design manager or whoever and say, can you review this before I put it through a takeoff package? So I can create a review. If you've gone through the reviews area, you can create a review to say pre-takeoff review process. They can start doing the review and then approve it. And so as soon as it's approved, you can just push it through into takeoff.
So if QS is or the construction manager, whatever, is doing a takeoff and they see an issue, they would go back into docs,
go back here,
open up that same drawing, create an issue in there, and issue it.
Yeah, or what depends. Quantity surveyors will probably love. They will love the cost management module where you can start hitting variations, change orders, and really going into the finite detail of the project. Because like issues are just like seen as snags, where if you start going into the cost management module, that's where the money is generated. That's the nuts and bolts of it.
Any questions now on takeoff? Because that's takeoff really covered then.
Yeah, that's
top to bottom.
Yeah, the only part is getting used to the packages and getting used to the coding of it. It's simple enough. You just do areas. If I was in a 3D model, I'm not too worried about let's say, what would it be? A column. You don't want to worry about the concrete. You want to find out the surface area of it. If it's modeled and it has a surface area, what do you call it, count on it, you can just say, I want to get the surface area of that column. I'm not interested in the concrete. It's whatever finishes go around that column in 3D. Okay. So whatever way if it has a model definition, it will work.
Okay. Any questions, guys? So seems straightforward. Yeah. I'm guessing it must do. There are no questions.
How good is our model?
How big is your model?
So how good is our model?
Yeah, your model is so that's good because you need it to you learn from issues and mistakes. Yeah. We don't always learn by being perfect. Yeah. So
there's quick ways of doing it. I'm just going through. See the way if you have if in the Revit model you have a parameter that has a number on it, you can quantify it. So your thickness of glass, your height, area. If there was another dimension on it, let's say if you what we've seen companies doing is start putting in the embodied carbon into the model itself, so you can quantify it that way too as well.
And will that new beta version then start picking that up?
Yeah, but that's based on EC3, which is an Autodesk kind of partnership, whereas we're doing more cradle to cradle, which is full life cycle analysis of a project, and we use one click. That's what we're using, and the one click plugin, and we've our own tools as well. We've built in Revit that will do kind of your embodied carbon, but this is more an EC3 thing from Autodesk.
Right, we'll chat another time about that then.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, whilst we've got you there, if you've got a couple of minutes, just do you mind just dropping into cost management? Is there any connection between takeoff and cost management? Or because I know it's a vast package within ACC.
I'll just see if I have one here now.
Yeah, just to show the guys, because
just checking to see. I can give a quick overview of it here. Yeah. So this is fully customizable. It is connected, not really to takeoff, in that you can create PCOs in takeoff. It's all done in docs or build. So here's where you get your calendar at the home. You can see what reviews are currently in place, your budget trends and cost trends. If stuff is on par.
Sean, in a way, this is not just a QS, this is a contract manager's tool.
This is, yes, commercial directors. This is everything that's on it. You can see RFQ statuses. You can actually, this can be used for requests for payments and sending out contract documentation as well. This is a different animal altogether compared to build. You can also, that's the home. You can track your budget. So you import in your budget. So all your budget items, what they're related to, what coding. If you can see how that relates to your main contract, if there's one there. This is your budget payment applications, what's outstanding with those. If I can go into the cost to see, these are PCOs that have been driven off. So this was my original budget. So if I click on, say, roof and cladding, it's showing here that there's a draft PCO sent. It's request seller input. And then you can go through here and start to see who the supplier is. What's the associated budget? You can connect it to the schedule as well. If there's a program as well, it goes into your taxing, and then there's your document packages. So I can generate a contract template here. So I can do all my subcontractor management within cost management here. So I open that up. So I know it's just opening up is that just a PDF? So I close that there. So you get your contract, what project, who the supplier is, and you can start going. It brings in your wall cladding because I just incorporate it in there, and then you can put in more information here and send it off then to your subcontractor. Here's where you can add references. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, no, and I see in there, add file package, so you can add in drawings, models, whatever you want to.
Yes, they're all integrated. Ignore that for the field. That's an old location. So that's project file. So you can start adding stuff there. If I want to say, well, there's actually an issue that I need to relate to, and that I can create an issue reference. So that is cost. Change it to a cost management. Say work to complete.
Okay. So issues work within this area as well. Good. And on all these issues now, you can have those issues tied into your agendas and minutes, can't you?
Yeah, that's in the build area. Yeah, you can.
That's in the build area.
Yeah. And then you can view your change order process. So these are all my PCOs. One is being approved. There's ones that are open draft, and you can go for this is going to be fully customized, your PCO, your titles, your client order request. So you can track all of these. So you can see here, this is what, there was a piling design that was incorrect. It was estimated by the subcontractor going to cost €2,000. We said it was proposed of 2.5. We submitted 3 to the client. They approved 3, and you committed to pay 2.5. So you can track that then over the course of your change order. And then you can track your forecasting to see how are we getting on with cash flow, how are we getting on with our performance tracking. Like it's, you see here, it's showing what's happening on what the original budget is and what any adjustments that have happened over the course of it. Yeah,
this is what I want you guys to be thinking of as we're going along, and is to build up this information. That's really what the Bill's done earlier on. You can start inputting this info.
Yeah, and if you're in docs, if you're in build, say, you can start going from an RFI to cost management. So if I just open up a project here into build. So if I'm in my RFIs, I can start escalating these as so this one here, roof trusses, or say ceiling height. That now I need to add that as a cost item. So you've loads of stuff here to put in. So I can reference that now to a potential change order. Click that. I can create it. Ceiling height should be increased, and you can put in stuff like to say with cost implications here. And you don't need to have access to the cost management. This could be a project manager on site who's just relaying information back. So that now has been added as a potential change order number 12 to cost management module that someone will have access to here. There you go. It's in draft, and here's where you can start to see, is it in scope, is it budget only, and then you can push it through then a change order status. What contract is it? Is it attached to? I can add contract documents if you want to go into the nitty gritty of the whole lot. And you can see here, it's all saying it's referenced back to that RFI.
And then when you talk about adding contract documents, this is coming from the sheets, is it in build?
Oh no, so generally people are always saying, I want to, let me add it because I need to set the company up. But before, you would have to create a contract document. You have to type up, oh, this is the company, this is the change order that's written. So this will create the contract document itself so that they can sign it like a DocuSign.
Yes, but the drawings.
Oh yeah.
Is it going to pull the drawings? Is it pulling the drawings from docs, or is it pulling them from sheets and build?
All from files.
All from files.
I think you can do it from sheets as well. Yeah. So you can add, it can be an asset as well that you're tracking that's going through a commissioning phase. You can do loads of stuff on this.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a photo, it can be a form that's been created. Yeah.
Good, and I see there we've got we'll be going through later on making their own forms, and then your submittals there. That's for like sending out your tender package.
That's it's sending out your submittals for tech submittals, so that what the supply chain are providing to you, like they could be samples, spec sheets, any other drawings that they want to be presenting back to you, shop drawings.
Right. And did I see transmittals there?
Yeah, transmittals is the historical one from docs.
Yeah.
So you just go here, transmittals. There's a few updates coming to that where you can actually share a transmittal to someone outside of your CDE, but that can be transmittal to anyone who isn't on the project. I have it turned off. I can turn it on, so you can control who has permissions to do stuff like that.
So would you use transmittals for sending out a tender package?
No, because there is, it's not, I'd always use submittals as part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's another thing as well.
Transmittals then?
Transmittals, like say, if I'm chatting with you and you say, I'm talking about the glazing drawings that I've received, or I could send it to you as a transmittal, which would be different, like a PAX internally, because it won't give a report in a way, whereas the submittals will give a report based on it.
Right, so it's more powerful.
Yeah, there's also a way you can hide members. So let's say if this was called Waterford Extension Project, and I log onto it, I can see everyone that's on the project that I'm potentially tendering against. But what you can see, you can hide that at account admin level too. So if I go settings, I can allow project members to view members page. I can turn that off. So if I'm a project member, I cannot see any other members on the project.
Okay, right.
So it's a nice feature to have.
Yeah. At the moment, I've given everybody admin rights because in the past I've just found it a bit difficult when some are members and then they can't access certain aspects of ACC, and it's good for everybody to get a whole total overview of what's going on.
Yeah, and because they potentially will be administrators as they go out into the workforce anyway, or
exactly
if they're currently in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions? None.
That's good.
How many people find this amazing? Oh, I'm getting some people nodding.
The modeling one is the best. The 3D model is excellent.
Oh, for taking off, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you do then, like, in talking to industry, is there some kind of checks that you would do when you get a model just to see if it's any way kind of accurate?
It's the first thing I check on a model is generic models. Are they in the right classification or whatever? So I just pick architect's model. So I always click on the button here just to see which are categorized in the right way. So
okay.
So curtain wall, there's generic models, stairs, walls, slab edges, furniture.
Yes.
There should be one there. Generic models. There you go. So they're generic models, which you wouldn't like that in a 3D model. You prefer if they were categorized in the right instance. But it's up to you then to say, but what is that? If I select that and go properties, it's a provision box. So like you can question that back to say why is that there? What's the reasoning for it?
Yeah.
Why isn't it modeled correctly?
And so and the things I'm talking about is as well as kind of volume and dimensional as a quick check. Do you do stuff like that?
It depends. Usually you get good models in. Like you could interrogate it by just clicking it here and going and just you can walk through the model and just see if there's any instances that are incorrect with it. Like I can click here, got it, and I can just double click anywhere here and I can start to look through the model.
And are you finding now the quality of modeling's improving?
Yeah, it's getting way better. Because what I'm seeing is the clients are starting to get an understanding and upskilling of what their end goal they want to achieve. Whereas previously it was, 3D model. It's lovely. It looks lovely, but the subcontractors and the contractors were getting very clever in a way of way they could just deliver a project without not having to put so much work into the model, as in the likes of Kobe, Uniclass, making sure it's a clash-free model. Whereas now the clients and the owners are starting to say, we have the solutions now to check models and validate it. So they're really putting the pressure on the contractors.
Excellent. Just on that then, are the clients starting to take all that data that's been created for their operations side of stuff and bring it into facilities management?
Yes, they're starting to look at the likes of Tandem Tandem is
Okay.
another automated solution, but it's very hard. There's a few other good FM tools out there that, yes, there's a lot of manual work required in order to take it from your 3D Revit model and into the CAFM system. But Autodesk are trying to streamline it, that it's just within a Revit environment or a Navisworks environment into the Tandem solution, where you can start putting in IoT devices and track. You can clearly see what if a room is overheating and what needs to happen inside there.
But I got you mentioned Navisworks. Is that I'm going to do a wee sidestep here. The we've been using Navisworks for obviously a long time.
Yeah,
It hasn't changed much, but I see the model coordination in ACC is getting more and more parameters in it. Is the plan to stop Navisworks and then transfer all that into ACC?
it's starting, because the viewer in ACC is starting to, it has gotten a massive upgrade. Because remember before, when you were walking through, you can see it here, it used to flicker as you were walking through the model, whereas now there's no flicker. It depends on the model. Like if it's a 10 gigabyte model, it will flicker to an extent. Then it's the clashes. It's the automation of the clashes and the clash reporting in model coordination is where people are starting to move. Not everyone are moving from Navisworks because they're accustomed to its features, and it's just they're so used to it. Whereas with model coordination, we have a lot of contractors who are seeing the benefits, especially coming from BIM 360 Glue, who they've used BIM 360 Glue and have started to see massive benefits of it. Whereas now with ACC and model coordination, they can do the same thing without having to publish it and keep it disjointed from the workflows.
Okay, and I got another question because I highlighted this. I think was it last week, possibly. But you know when you get your table in model coordination with the clashes, right, the matrix, right, and when you clash the models one way, you get one number of clashes, and when you clash them the opposite way, you get a different number. Why is that?
It's the master, so whichever is the higher one. So an example would be if you have a structural floor and you have a mechanical ducting model, two separate models.
Yeah.
Your floor would be one item. You could have 5 mechanical ducts going through the floor. So if you're a structural model and you run a clash, that's one clash with the floor, because it's just one item that's affected by you, which is your structural floor. Whereas if you're the mechanical model, you could have 5 because you have 5 penetrations going through that floor. If you understand.
So it's just it
depends what your master model is that you're running your clashes.
So it's whichever one you pick first.
Yes. So if you're saying I'm a mechanical model, I want to see what clashes are going through that. It'll show you every instance. But if it's just one instance of a floor, it'll just be one.
So when you're doing your analysis and you're creating your issues, should you take the model that's got the least number? Should you pick it the way that's got the least number?
Yeah, it depends, because on issues with model coordination, if you snap, say if you're doing your clashes and you select the mechanical model, it will associate that issue to the mechanical model. Whereas if you click the floor, it'll associate it to the floor. So you need to be conscious of that too as well.
Right, okay. I've got you. No, that's good to know. Right, we're going to look at that then when we're moving on to that section.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was something like that, right? But now I'm getting a bit clearer on it. Because it always comes up.
Yeah. And some cases it can be a bit, people love, well, model coordinators and BIM coordinators, they love saying, oh, I want to see what's the smallest amount of clashes I have, but it's just like
because if you resolve it one way, it's going to resolve it both ways anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends on who takes ownership of that model or resolving that issue. Who's the main coordinator on it. That's it. Any other questions?
Well, anybody got any questions? So tomorrow when we meet up, I'm not going to get a barrage of questions about takeoff. No, everybody knows what they're going to do in takeoff.
I think they're leaving it to the QSs, maybe, are they?
Well, no, it's not just a QS thing. Everybody's got to get an understanding of it. It's no, I mean, you've seen there, it's not difficult to do.
No. The element is what coding do you use and what NRM codes or a classification system, but that will evolve over time.
Yeah. Okay. Then any questions?
I was wondering on a higher level, Sean, is there your experience of the cost implications for where more and more clients are taking this on? Are there costs discussions with the contractors, those who maybe don't want it?
I think it would be. I can't see it happening at the minute where the client is taking on all that risk of the cost. They have an agreed contract sum, and it's up to the contractor to meet it or not. And if they don't, I think that a client would be silly in taking over that element. But if it saves them money on the overall project, yes. What I'm seeing is an awful embodied carbon and sustainability is becoming very, very important, especially for there's an awful lot of benefits now. If you have a different rating of your building, so let's say if there was a big office block being built in Waterford, for example, if you get a cheaper interest rate off a lending institution if you had a lower embodied carbon. So they're trying to drive down the embodied carbon, and to be honest, the clients aren't familiar with it. They're pushing it down into the contractor, who in turn is pushing it down into the design team.
Yeah. Well, you say Waterford there is a good example because they are trying to do net zero.
Yeah.
And public works. So yeah.
And that's what it's upskilling everyone, and then there's loads of tools out there. It's which tool suits.
Yeah, it's we had a wee look at the carbon count in Insight.
Yeah, that's
yeah. You know, but that's at a much higher level than one click LCA.
Yeah, one click is unbelievable, and we have a thing that we built into Revit called. I might try and see if we can give you a few licenses of it. Navigate Zero, it's called.
Right.
So this is where you get your construction projects. So you just put on your EPD certs. So if I select a window, I'll have an EPD cert, which is an environmental product declaration cert for the glass, for the PVC if it's a PVC, and you can start applying all that. That's just a video of it there, and you can see exactly what's associated to that, and that then is connected to your one-click LCA, and you can decide then, as I'm designing the model, the building, if I use PVC or wood, which is the better on an embodied carbon side for the project.
Very good. Anybody doing anything like that in their dissertations? No? Okay. Sometimes
we can happily organize a demo or something, get someone in from Navigate or even from One Click if you want to as well, Gordon. There's no problem.
Yeah, no, be good. I'll have a chat with Brian, Brian Dempsey. So he looks at that stuff as well a lot. And I remember I went up and did a One Click 1 day kind of workshop. So again, it's like there's so much stuff and there's a lot of bits in there.
Yeah.
So but it would be
it's more getting informed, and it's up to the person then to make a decision on which is more suitable.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were doing stuff with Forma and having a look at that as well in there. But yeah, no, it's a bit like the building regs, just knowing where to go. You're not going to remember everything.
No one is masters of everything. No,
that's fantastic. And look, if we do get any questions over the next few days, I'd like to pass them on to you.
No, that's no problem. Happily help out. Or if anyone wants me to if they've come across any problems with the takeoff, I'll happily help them out.
Excellent. No, that is brilliant, Sean. Look, thanks very much, guys.
No problem. Thanks, everyone.
No, and I was conscious of your time there because you said an hour and we're going well over an hour.
No, that's,
Yeah.
I've booked in until 11, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, Sean.
All right.
We'll catch up with you again sometime soon.
No problem.
And thanks for all your help.
See you guys. Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye.
mate. Thanks. Bye.